Allan Aguirre with your Incorruptible 2-minute warning for the week of January 29th. Can you believe we're in week 16 of Corinthians? I can't. I mean, that's 4 months. Crazy, crazy. Well, it's
Monday.
That's right. It's Monday. And we are we're going to begin chapter 14. Once again, a very convoluted, very confused. It's not a confusing chapter, but Christianity has made this a very convoluted and confusing chapter. I mean, think about it. If you don't speak in tongues or prophesy or do any of the spiritual gifts, heal the sick, any of that, you're going to have to come up with reasons why. And it's going to be a lot easier to come up with reasons that blanket than look at yourself in the mirror and deal with that. It's just so much easier to just say, hey, God doesn't do this anymore, and then literally pervert and twist the New Testament teachings on the subject matter to justify your godlessness. Yeah, that's what I said. To justify your disobedience, to justify your inability or your negligence in aligning with what the teachings teach. It's a lack of the fear of God. They don't fear God. So because they don't fear God, it's like they're playing house. It's so bizarre to me how they can just be so recklessly negligent. I mean, there's better words out there to use that are even more incriminating, but derelict. They're absolutely derelict. They can't do this, and so they're going to pervert what the Bible says, what the New Testament says regarding the teachings on the subject matter to justify themselves. The Pharisees did it. Christianity does it. And we've proven that time and time again. The study in Romans proved it left and right. We're proving it here. This is what Paul is saying. Christianity versus the Bible. We're going to talk about what the Bible says in chapter 14 and how Christianity has totally perverted it. But before we do that, excuse me. Did anybody else wake up this morning thinking that, you know, that feeling when I'm not going to say first day of school, because first day of school has like an excitement to it, because, I'm thinking school children versus school adults, college, right? I mean, so that first day of school, you have those first day of school jitters the night before, and then you wake up and you're like just out of control, excitement and anticipation, and you can't wait to, right? That's why I'm not going to say first day of school, but more of kind of like a first day at the new job, where it's like, you're not like excited like a kid. I mean, you're excited, but it's more like, okay, let's go. Okay, we got this now. Okay, my life has changed. I have this new job, and now I got to go do this thing because now it opens up a whole different world in front of you now, right? Than last week when you didn't have that new job. That type of a feeling, more than the excitement feeling. Did anybody else wake up with that kind of like a new? I'm using the word new job type of feeling. Like we all woke up this week, this Monday, with this sense of maybe not newness, but that something has changed, and not necessarily for the good or for the bad, but just like as a matter of fact. Anyway, let me know, and let's suss it out in the spirit and see what happens. All right, 1 Corinthians chapter 14, prophecy and tongues. Oops, incriminating. We incriminated Christianity because the majority of Christianity does not believe in prophecy, and they do not believe in tongues. I mean, we're stuck. We can't even begin the chapter because they're already incriminated because they don't believe this stuff, and they teach that God did away with this stuff. And that if you are a prophet, you're a false prophet because I don't prophesy and I'm godly, so you can't prophesy either, so it must be the devil. Which is exactly what the Pharisees said about Jesus. Jesus could do what the prophets of old could do, and the Pharisees couldn't, and they hated him for it, and so they told him he was demonic. Because they're the God guys, And if they can't do it, well then why the hell can you? See? And then I've been to churches where, oh no, we believe in prophecy and speaking in tongues. Well then why don't you do it? And then this is what happened. Not doing it is the same as not believing in it. Because if you believed in it, you would do it because you would be pursuing. Oh, the word pursue. It's the first word in the English Standard Version of this. It's pursue, love. See, I think that should have been at the end of the last chapter. But it says, look what it says here. Ready? Are we going to start this thing? Earnestly desire the spiritual gifts. Complete Jewish Bible says, keep on eagerly seeking the things of the Spirit. Back to English Standard. Especially that you may prophesy. Oops. For one who speaks in a tongue speaks not to men, but to God. For no one understands him, but he utters mysteries in the Spirit. On the other hand, the one who prophesies speaks to people for their upbuilding and encouragement and consolation. The Complete Jewish Bible says, but someone prophesying is speaking to people, edifying, encouraging, and comforting them. Verse 4. This is very important because Paul's going to reference back to verse 4 like 2 more times after this. The one who speaks in a tongue builds up himself, but the one who prophesies builds up the church. Now I want you all to speak in tongues, so they will literally, they being the imbeciles that have been running Christianity for 1800 years, they will literally say that verse 4 is, so you don't have to speak in tongues, because you should be prophesying. Instead of speaking in tongues, say the ones that don't even prophesy. All right? Verse 5, now I want you all to speak in tongues, comma, but even more to prophesy. It's absolutely incriminating. Good cross-reference is number 1129, which we will unpack on Friday. Continuing in verse 5. The one who prophesies is greater than the one who speaks in tongues, unless someone interprets. Interprets what? Interprets tongues. So you got tongues, prophecy, and then the interpretation of tongues. Because if you can interpret, I know one person that can. It's what? Wow.
The views and opinions expressed during our broadcasts are solely those of the broadcast producers, hosts, and/or guests, etc., and are not necessarily the views or opinions of the Travelogue Network, its sponsors, or affiliates.